I'll start recording, letting everybody in.
I like your backdrop over there. Is that Sunset Cliffs?
Nathan back there, yeah, that was a picture of Nathan over at Sunset Beach from Point Loma, or right down.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Karen.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hi, guys. Hi, Katria.
Hello. I know we have two moms, Francisca. Hi, Francisca. And
hi, Francisca.
Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and get started and add people as they come in. I know John is joining today too. Hi, John. So I'll get started for a couple Zoom rules for those of you who need a refresher or are new to our Lunch and Learns. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. This is our 53rd Lunch and Learn. It's a really special occasion today that our volunteer executive director, Dana, is going to go into a little bit more of a reflection today, which I'm really excited to hear and for all of you to hear and be a part of. Like I said, couple Zoom rules: mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though I love to see all your smiling faces. It feels like a more personal connection when we do get to see each other's faces, so I highly encourage it if you are able. Please type all questions and comments into the chat as well. We love to see your comments and engaging with you, and I'm going to be monitoring the chat bar the entire time. So please do type in your comments and any questions that you have for our guest speaker today. We will have a Q&A and just kind of discussion at the end. So you're welcome to participate as much as you can. A quick update from Autism Tree. We have now reached over 585,000 people through all of our social media channels, which it just blows my mind. Since March of last year is when we started to track all of our social media stats. Thank you to everyone who has been following us through this whole journey, and our world has expanded because of COVID, and we're able to pivot online. So we've been able to reach people all over the world, which is really, and all over the US, which has been really wonderful. Our posts have been shared over 1,013 times. Thank you for sharing our content. We like to post a lot of our videos from our volunteers that are being posted on our Facebook, and our Instagram has a huge following, which is awesome. So thanks to everyone who's sharing our content. We now have 385 videos on our YouTube channel, which is incredible. We have 130 subscribers, which has really been up since the past year, increased immensely. So thank you to everyone who's been following us. Please subscribe today if you haven't yet. And thanks to everyone who's watching at home. I know this is a recorded version, so hello to everyone at home. Please post, or we have posted 337 of those videos on our YouTube channel since March of last year, which has been incredible. So those are from volunteers, my interns, program managers, our supporters, families, board members. It's a great way for us to see each other's faces online. You get to see the entirety of the Autism Tree community come together online, which is really wonderful. Our Reading with Autism series, we've posted 107 videos. That's where our volunteers read children's books for our kids and families. And we reached over 50,000 people just through that series. We've also provided 258 virtual events to date. Shout out to our incredible program managers. We've been able to pivot 19 of our 20 programs online. So we've been still having a huge impact on our families' lives, increasing that social communication and opportunities to connect with each other. And we have 12 events coming up between now and the end of June. So thanks to everyone who's been following. If you want to get involved, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, I'll pass it off to Dana Hoff, who will introduce our special guest speaker today.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, as Rebecca mentioned, I just wanted to take a moment just to tell you how incredibly proud I am of each of you. There's many of you on the call right now who we've been doing this together for a year. And I just felt like I sort of wanted to pause and tell you what a blessing it's been in the middle of this global pandemic, which is sort of surreal, and I can't even think of a word that would even describe it. But it sure has been fluid, and I think we've all learned to pivot and be flexible in ways we didn't even know existed, like Zoom. I hadn't even been on Zoom or heard of it before the pandemic. And now I wanted to let you know that our chairman of the board, Todd Hoff, wanted to let you all know that he's extraordinarily proud of the Lunch and Learns, and he'd like to see us keep going. And so it's a huge gift that Tom stepped in today. Santana was going to be speaking. She is married to a young man who she announced at our core team meeting before had gotten diagnosed after they were either together, engaged, or married. And so she's going to be doing that at a future time. But I think it's really meant to be that Tom is here today, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But what I wanted to say from my heart, I think, is really a thank you. And I have just, like everyone, gone through a lot of losses that sort of just like knocked me out, as you guys know. So today, I'm going to share with you what I'm currently trying to breathe through. And I'm going to say that we'll just take an extra moment and let us be interactive with each other. So with that, I'm going to bring up a question. And the question is, who or what have you lost during this past year of this global pandemic that is weighing heavy on your heart? And right now, I think you can bring back up the screen for a minute, Rebecca. I wanted to share that I'm getting ready to, I've never spoke at a funeral before. I've never put myself up to doing that. I didn't speak when my mom died or my dad died, or I don't know. I've just never spoke at a funeral. I've never wanted to, but for some reason, I think this process and just a lot of encouragement from Todd, I'm working on it. It's this weekend, and I haven't wrote anything yet. But I'm thinking that today, doing this with you is going to be my catalyst to like write something tomorrow and then get on the plane Friday. So I'm writing about my brother. My older brother passed away. I have two brothers. One's 10 years older than me, and one's 15. And my brother that's 15 years older than me is the one that passed away. So if you want to know more about his life, his I hate saying that word obituary, but is posted on my Facebook, and he's lived a really amazing life. He's a very giving person, and he has a legacy of a huge family, and I'm his little sister. So I'm going to show you a few photos I pulled for myself for inspiration to writing about my big brother. So in the far left-hand corner is my older brother, Dan, in the green, who passed away. And then my brother, Don, is 10 years older than me. And some of you might have met him. His wife passed away during this pandemic. They were like sweethearts since he met her when she was 13. And then his son's a forest ranger, and him and his wife, and they had lost everything in the fires. So we did a whole thing, I think at the end of last year, that some of you might have came or donated furniture, but that was my brother Don and his family. So it's kind of surreal to look at my brother Dan, me, and my brother Don and realize I'm the only one who's now married with a spouse. My brother Don doesn't have his wife Sue during this pandemic. That all happened, and now my brother Dan is gone and his wife Sandy is still here. So it's kind of just weighs on me. But what I'm going to try to be inspired to talk about is just what it's like losing my big brother. He was amazing for me as a little girl. These pictures show me in his wedding. He met his wife, Sandy, and just fell madly in love with her. He was 20 years old, and I would like hide in the living room and watch him just staring at her, just mesmerized by her, and always playing with her hair. She had really long hair. It was very pretty. She wore like mini dresses. It was like, I don't know, like sort of like Age of Aquarius kind of wear I've never seen. You can see what I dress like. That's my mom made me all these outfits. That's why I kind of relate to Amish people. That was actually my wardrobe. It was like very much Laura Ingalls. If you pull up the show Little House on the Prairie, I dressed like Laura Ingalls, and my mom was an amazing seamstress. And that little baby is my brother Dan's little girl, Julie. So I think I'm in kindergarten or first grade there. So I just remember that the number one thing that I cherish is that I got to watch my brother fall madly in love. And I used to count the kisses that he would give her and run through the room and be like, one kissy kissy. I don't know how he put up with it, but maybe that's why he got married really fast and moved out, so he didn't have to deal with this little girl running around driving him crazy, his little sister Dana. But before he met Sandy, he worked in a shoe department at Mervyn's with my other brother. And my mom and I would go visit him all the time. And I think that is truly how I fell in love with shoes, is visiting my brothers when they worked at the shoe store near my house. And the other cool thing about my older brother that made me a rock star with my little friends in the neighborhood when they'd spend the night is my brother was a manager of a donut shop and he worked night shifts. So then he'd come home and bring all these donuts home. And I just remember there was probably nothing cooler that you could wish your brother would do when you had your girlfriends over for a sleepover. So I don't know, it just feels good to share it with you. This is just so heavy on my heart. And I want to kick it back to Rebecca just to say, you know, there's nobody that's not coming out of the pandemic without a lot of heaviness. And I feel very much that we've given each other a lot of courage every single week. And I don't think that Rebecca or I want to stop doing that. And I hope you don't either. There's not even 1 week that I haven't felt just incredible inspiration from everybody. And taking the time to look at 18 years of Autism Tree, which we're gonna do with him in a minute, because Tom has probably with his family experienced some of the coolest moments as a family that the foundation has ever had. So what a cool thing that we're gonna migrate to that, everybody. But I'm really wanting to just take a pause and not just be the only one sharing what's heavy. So I'm going to pass it to Rebecca and let her answer that question, and then open it up if you want to share something and just say, thank you for letting me work through this with you today.
Thank you, Dana. I really loved all that you are sharing with us. And I think you are so brave, and I just admire you a lot for sharing this with us today. And I think it's really appropriate timing because it has been over a year since the pandemic first started, and we've all felt so much loss. And for me personally, I was going through, I was in a relationship last year, and it ended after 3 years. It was my first love that I ever had. And so it was really difficult to go through that. During the pandemic, it was actually a blessing that I was able to work remotely. So we were living together, and I was able to move back to my mom's house for a month to get my bearings together and find a new place to live. And that was really healing for me, to be in that type of nurturing environment and reflect on all of that. And it's going to be a year in July since we broke up. And I have to thank Lisa at the time, because she was so incredible and just really empathetic and warm and loving, and Dana as well. And Dana has gone above and beyond since then. When Lisa went was on her maternity leave, and we were, she came back for the year end a little bit, and then, she moved to Oregon, and Dana and I had this amazing working relationship and friendship that we've developed during this time that has really gotten me through it. And being at this point in my life, I'm 25. It's really wonderful to have her as a motherly figure or just a role model as well. And I feel very blessed for that. So thank you, Dana. You're so wonderful, and your heart is so big, and I think everybody feels that, and you're at the center of that at Autism Tree. And I really feel that that's what makes this foundation and this community so special. And I know that everyone on this call has felt that. So I welcome anybody else who wants to share. You can unmute yourself and share a little something special. Jeff?
Thank you, Dee.
Well, the past year has been it's been challenging to say the least. Of course, the biggest loss I had was the past year was all the travel that I had planned for, especially the Sweet 16 Gala, which I was really looking forward to participating in, and that was a big loss. And then of course I didn't get to see the birth of my youngest niece, who was born a year ago this month, and it was a big challenge. And then this past year, a couple months ago, I lost one of my uncles to collateral cancer that was undetected, and then last month we had to put our dog down. So it's been a very challenging periods of time. But of course, been focused on growing my advocacy and hopefully getting and eventually looking forward to coming back out this summer for the Bridge to the Beach Family Day, and then in December for the Winter Wonderland. So, I mean, there are plenty of good things to come as we get closer and closer to getting out of this pandemic. So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on how things have been.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing. We love you so much, and I'm sorry for all the loss that your family had. So hard to, go through it, but we're so glad to have you here with us today and share that. That's really, thank you. I know
My pleasure.
Francisca has her hand raised, so Francisca, feel free to unmute yourself or turn on your camera as well.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, trying to get the video. Oh, there we go. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone here at ATPF. My son just participated in the dance program in person on Saturday, and he loved it. My son just turned 9. And I've attended a few lunch and learn meetings. They've been wonderful. Just thank you so much for continuing with this wonderful program for our community here in San Diego. And for Dana, everyone, just really sorry for the losses that you've had. Dana, the loss of your brother. My younger brother, who was a year younger than me, passed away in 2015. A day before his 40th birthday. He was really young, had 2 children. So I totally understand it, the loss of a sibling. I lost my father. My mother's still living, but my father, see my brother, there's something about a sibling connection that is very, I grieved my father dearly, but with my brother it was different because we grew up together. And one thing that I've been kind of along the line thinking of, I have 2 sons with autism, one, my 9-year-old Eric, and I also have a 28-year-old with autism. He was diagnosed with Asperger's when he was 8. And then I have 2 daughters who are typically developing. And I worry about the relationship they have, the stresses that have been brought on through, the difficulties with the diagnosis. And their siblings are, most likely, they're gonna outlive me. So I would hope that my daughters can be there for my 2 sons and support them. So I've been, focusing on the relationship really, especially during this time of COVID. The stresses first when everything first started, it really sort of it shook us out of we had a routine, and all of a sudden the routine was gone. The school's closed. So, but I think we're stronger for it, and ATPF has really helped to maintain that sense of community for us. And just thank you so much.
Thank you, Francisca. It's so good to see your face. I miss every week seeing the families every week. That was my favorite part. That's another reason,
Sorry, I think I didn't notice my phone is about to die. I'm not at home, but hopefully it'll stay on for a little bit.
No problem. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Like I was saying, I really miss seeing our families in person at our events. That's it's the most fulfilling part of my job. And so what you said, Francisca, was really meaningful to me personally. So thank you so much. Does anybody else want to share? I saw that Karen Wright, she typed in the chat. She said, we lost our daughter-in-law in October of 2020 and will always cherish the beautiful memories we shared. I'm sorry for your loss, Karen, and thank you for sharing that. Karen is our prayer ministry warrior for Autism Tree and always has been a light and shared love with those who are going through a really tough loss or big life change. She has always been our prayer warrior. So we love you, Karen. I'll open it up to anybody else who wants to share as well.
Okay, well, I can, if anyone else isn't sharing, bring up the video that I chose today that I felt like could help us all, hopefully in some way. It's just a really good video on how to cope with things.
So what do we do about all the pain we see in the world? All the pain we feel in our own lives? And why does it seem like our best efforts to help somebody feel better always backfire? I've been studying intense grief and loss, baby death, violent crimes, accidents, suicides, and natural disasters. And I've learned something really interesting. Cheering people up, telling them to be strong and persevere, helping them move on, it doesn't actually work. It's kind of a puzzle. It seems counterintuitive, but the way to help someone feel better is to let them be in pain. This is true for those giant losses and the ordinary everyday ones. Educator Parker Palmer writes, "The human soul doesn't want to be advised or fixed or saved. It simply wants to be witnessed exactly as it is." He's talking about acknowledgement here. Acknowledgement is this really amazing multi-tool. It makes things better even when they can't be made right. For example, somebody's struggling. Their baby died, or there's been a bad accident, or their mom got sick, and they're just sad. It's way more helpful to join them in their pain than it is to cheer them up. But here's what we tend to do instead. You have 2 other children, you need to find joy in them. Or, you know what you need? You just need to go out dancing and shake it off. Or, I felt really sad once. Did you try acupuncture? We're not really sure what to do with someone's pain, so we do what we've been taught. We look on the bright side. We try to make people feel better. We give them advice. It's not like this is nefarious. We try to cheer people up because we think that's our job. We're not supposed to let people stay sad. The problem is, you can't heal somebody's pain by trying to take it away from them. Now, acknowledgement does something different. When a giant hole opens up in someone's life, it's actually much more supportive to acknowledge that hole and let pain exist. It's actually a radical act to let things hurt. It goes against what we've been taught. In order to really support you, I have to acknowledge that things really are as bad as they feel to you. If I try to cheer you up, you end up defending yourself and your feelings. If I give you advice, you feel misunderstood instead of supported. And I don't get what I want either, because I wanted you to feel better. It's pretty rare that you could actually talk somebody out of their pain. Rarely does the admonishment to look on the bright side actually heal things for someone. It just makes them stop telling you about their pain. It's so tempting to try to make things better. When somebody shares something painful, it's much more helpful to say, "I'm sorry that's happening. Do you want to tell me about it?" To be able to say, "This hurts," without being talked out of it, that's what helps. Being heard helps. It seems too simple to be of use, but acknowledgement can be the best medicine we have. It makes things better, even when they can't be made right.
Rebecca, I don't know why I'm not on the screen. You are.
I'm spotlight.
That's okay. I really liked that video. I think that it's one that's going to be my go-to, because my nature is always 100% kind of want to run to someone that I know is in pain and cheer them up. So I think as a culture, as a country, we all do that. And I really valued this video a lot. And I hope it's something that you found useful, and maybe it could be a reference in the future if you need it. And with that, I just want to say again, thank you for being, I think, as I don't like using the word safe place because it's overused a lot in a lot of areas, but what I guess what I love about the Lunch and Learn is I see everyone being who they are. And I'm really drawn, I wasn't going to say this, but I'm really drawn to this song right now. It's kind of been my mantra that I want to be free, because we're only here for a while, and I want to be me. This is my mantra. It's like it's a song by Seal that I heard, and I'm really kind of using it. And then at the same time, it's like, well, as much as I want to be me, I want to let other people do the same. And I think that our Lunch and Learns, we do that. And if you looked at all 52 of them, people are bringing forth who they are, and that's what makes this time so completely valuable, and we're all growing from it. And I know Tom is going to be a special speaker today, because he has done so much with his family and our programs here at Autism Tree. So Tom, I love looking at these photos with you, and you know, what an amazing father you are to your sons. Looking at these photos of you with the program that John Hickey's on the call running, he's been running since 2000. The program's been around since 2008, and John's been there since the beginning. And I see you with your player and your boys. And we on the pre-call, we were talking about that you started coming to the programs in 2014, and that's just amazing to me. And I know you're going to talk a little bit more about that. I think there's one more slide of photos too. And from the USD games to the Winter Wonderlands, all the different football programs, and then Ross Dwelly bringing you out to see him play for the 49ers, not once, but twice, is just really, I mean, extra over the top, I think. I'm so glad that we have these photos. They're just precious, they're priceless, and you can't not just feel the connection and the love in them. And I love seeing the other player you had is an awesome player too. And he comes to a lot of our events still. John has done a great job, and that's something I care very much about too, is keeping our alumni baseball and football players really engaged still and coming back. And the players that are in these photos definitely do that. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Tom, and just say an early happy Father's Day to you. You're an amazing father. I always value seeing you at anything we do at Autism Tree. And I know this is going to be an extra special lunch and learn today with you, kicking off. June is coming right up with Father's Day month. So huge love and gratitude to you today, Tom. Thank you.
Well, thanks. I wasn't ready for all of the emotional stuff ahead of time, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So if I seem really highly motivated, it's only so that I don't completely lose it throughout this. So thanks for sharing those pictures. You took some of the ones that I'm going to share too, so you'll get to see them twice. I decided just that I would share kind of a little bit of our story with pictures today because that's the best way. I'm a guy, visual. That's the way that we share our stuff. So as you mentioned, we started our journey in 2014, and it really was a choice meeting with Kelly, we just moved back here from Colorado, and Kelly was checking out a church in the local area, and a lady approached her because she recognized Kelly's puzzle piece necklace and said, "Hey, I know what that is." And long story short, they sat and spoke for a while, and pretty soon we were being introduced to her husband, John, who heads up the USD mentor program with ATPF. At the time, our boys weren't into sports. They were young. They were just, whatever, football, okay. But it was, hey, let's try something new, get somebody introduced into Nathan's life. Our younger son, Ryan, he's not on the spectrum, but is a sibling. And as I heard the lady speak a moment ago, just the importance of the siblings in this whole journey is huge. But we said, okay, John's got a perfect person. He said, a freshman, Colton Georgie, coming into the USD program, wants to participate. Come to the game, we'll meet and see how it goes. We did the thing, watched the game, met Colton for the first time after the game, back behind the locker room, and did the little awkward dance of, hey, good game. And wasn't quite sure what to do. He was an 18-year-old kid and fresh into college. But we decided, let's keep doing this. Let's see where it goes. And a couple games in, John said, we've got a lot of players. Does Ryan want somebody? Would he be interested? And we had just watched a game where Dallas Kessman had scored like 4 touchdowns. So Ryan said, yeah, I want a player, and I want that Dallas Kessman guy. He just scored 4 touchdowns, and he was available to participate. So we now had 2 players, one being a freshman and one being Dallas, who was a junior. And that's really where, the program pretty much started for us with the players. And so we really did, we still weren't sure really what to do or how to approach this. We were hesitant. We were, how it is in this journey. What do you do? What's too much? What's too little? What's gonna react? What's not? And so we just we played it very cautiously. Went to the games, went back after the games, took pictures, wished them well on their collegiate day and week, and see you next week at the game. Then we got to do the Christmas events, which was always fun for the kids at that age. And that was just something special and different than football that really, was fun for the boys. But if you look at that picture on the right, that was really the catalyst. That was actually 2 years into the program with us. It was Dallas's senior year. And he came to us and he said, I have an uncle that works for Disneyland and he can get us in for free. And of course, our first thought is, well, we'll need at least 3 days at Disneyland because Autism plus Disneyland is not a one-day adventure. It's an experience. And he said, nope, it's 1 day and it's got to be a Saturday. And we're like, you've got to be kidding me. So we said, okay, let's do it. I mean, what could happen? And so we met up there at Disneyland on a Saturday. They brought their girlfriends. And that was really where we started seeing things change because we saw the boys now interacting with them differently. It wasn't at the football game. They were, hey, there's my favorite character. Hey, I like that ride. Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite movie? And now they're walking along with their players talking about life stuff at Disneyland. And then the really fun thing that day that it's like it happened yesterday. We were standing in line. Nathan's got his headphones on, it's loud. And we're standing in line at one of those mountain railroad rides, one of the kind of wild, crazy ones. Nathan wasn't a fan of any of those, but he couldn't really tell what it was. And I heard him ask Colton, is this a roller coaster? And without skipping a beat, Colton says, no, we're getting on the ride. Just deal with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's lying to my kid already. That's awesome. Big brother. And sure enough, we got on the ride. And I mean, as it's starting, Nathan's going, this is a roller coaster. And he's freaking out. But then we went on the ride. It ended great. I mean, it was awesome. And safe to say, by the end of the night, we actually rode Space Mountain. And it was actually me who was freaked out. I was like, was that always that rough? I mean, my body's hurting and Nathan's hair is all over the place and he was loving it. And that day was really for Kelly and I, where we really came to the conclusion that we've got to do something more with this program. Unfortunately, we're losing Dallas because he's graduating, but his role in this was completely changed everything for how we approached the next 2 years. And so when the next season was coming up and summer was coming up, we knew Ryan needed a new player. And we went to John, and Ryan was now playing flag football. He loved being a receiver. And all we could think about is that big dude who's always in play is Ross Dwelly. Is he available? And John said, that's exactly who I wanted to pair Ryan up with. So, there's more of a backstory to that if you didn't know, Colton and Ross actually went to high school together. They played football in the same high school, and now they're playing football at USD. They're both juniors. So we've got them both for 2 more years. It was just like the perfect match. And so we spent the next 2 years, going to the next slide here, of deciding we're not just going to go out to their life of the football game and then leave it there and hope that an event comes up we can all attend, but we're going to invite them into our life. We're going to bring them to our house and let them participate with our junk and our mess and our fun and our family. And so over the next 2 years, we did, as you can see there, birthday parties. So their birthday we would celebrate, our kids' birthday they would celebrate. I love the shot of Ross. Here's this big 6'5" tight end, and he's got a Nerf rifle, sniper rifle, and they're doing target practice in the house. I still think our refrigerator is dented from one of those darts. But it was just, you'd come over for game night, barbecues, swimming. And then this picture down below is just one of my favorites because they're just being guys. And that's just something that sometimes just that normal, you never get to really always participate in, but just seeing them just talk, hang out, and just be guys together was one of the coolest things ever. And that was one of the things that really made this, because they became family. And I've shared this before that, they didn't even knock when they would come over. I don't know if that was, maybe I should have been more concerned, but I'm not. I trust these guys with our boys 100%. And they just became family. And so there was even the time here, just some other things of swimming. The year that they went to the playoffs and they couldn't go home for Thanksgiving because they had to travel up to, I think it was Cal Poly for the game. So they came over for Thanksgiving. And then the day of the game, it was televised on ESPN3. And we had Colton's girlfriend's family over to watch the game. So here's this extended family unit, not related, watching the game live on TV. And this was this was Thanksgiving weekend. And so it just expanded this family unit. And then that Christmas shot was the last Christmas that we all were in town together. And the guys came over and they each gave our boys their practice jerseys that they're wearing there in front of that picture. And so that was really special for them after watching them for the last 2 years and watching Colton actually for the last 4 years. And so we've also gotten to participate in their celebrations. So watching them graduate, each of the boys got to go in and see their player graduate and walk that line. Down below here at their football banquet, they each received the respective offensive and defensive player of the year award. And for me, I was like a proud dad. They're not my kids, but holy cow, I'm sitting there going, those are our 2 players and they're both getting the 2 biggest awards of the season. And so our boys got to see what that was like, and seeing like their big brothers accept these rewards and get to celebrate with them. And then even after graduation, when Ryan kind of kept going with football, and our players we'd had for so long had graduated and gone on, Ryan, we connected with Michael Bandy, who's in that lower right-hand corner. And for Ryan, being a receiver in football and flag football, getting to, now partner with another All-American wide receiver, he would go down there on the field after games and he would throw balls and run routes with Michael Bandy. And that was just such a joy for him. He's not the talkative one. So just getting to hang out and talk with Bandy wasn't the cool thing. It was actually going out on the field and throwing and catching with him, which was awesome. So that was the night they won the trophy and they got to take that picture together. And then over on the left, as Dana mentioned, Ross gets picked up by the Niners. And if you all don't know this and you are participating in the USD program, when you go back behind the locker room after the game and all the families are there and everybody's, hey, son, great game, and taking pictures, the Niners do the exact same thing. It's surreal and almost comical because we got to go back there both times with Ross's family. And, here comes Ross. He's no longer a Torero. He's a 49er, but then he's followed by George Kittle and Bosa, and they're all coming out, hey, Mom. And it's like, where am I? This is like just a dream kind of a thing. And, going up to Bosa, he's standing there with his mom with a hoodie on. And I mean, I could be his dad and I go, Mr. Bosa, can I get a picture of you and my son? He's like, sure. It was just like USD on steroids, kind of, so to speak. It was just such an amazing experience. And then getting to go down on the field and, the classic thing about this that in going through these pictures and preparing just for this time to talk to everybody here, that the program is what it is. It's phenomenal. And I would say for anybody who ever listens to this now or on a recording, take that extra step of faith. Because honestly, I don't know had that Disneyland event never happened, or had we not gone, okay, we got to do something more, we probably would have just ended up going to the games and left it there. And my stomach hurts thinking about what we would have missed out on. And so taking that extra step of faith, and just whatever that is for your family, for your kids, everybody's different, do it without a doubt. And when it comes to the players themselves, of just, again, you call it what you want. I know what Karen calls it, and I know what I call it. And, something was looking out over us of just the players that we got, because Colton went on to graduate and get a job and stay here in San Diego. Well, he and Nathan, their favorite thing is to go to In-N-Out and go to movies. They get to still do that, and they do. Ryan's big thing is football. He doesn't care about going to movies or anything like that. Ross is an NFL football player. And while had the players swapped, they still would have been great guys. He still would have been an experience, but the way that it ended up is just, it's magical, for lack of a better term, of just more of a divine intervention there. So super cool thing about that. Colton was at our son Nathan's 18th birthday a couple weeks ago. He'll be coming to his graduation party next week. All these guys, incredible young men. They've been incredible influences to our boys. Colton's trying to get Nathan to get a tattoo. We'd all go together. So I'm all for it. Nathan's not for it, even for like a Darth Vader helmet or something like that, but we'll see. But it's kind of fun to hear Colton talk like that, because, Nathan's now 18. Nathan's the age that Colton was when we met him as part of this program. And that's freaking me out a little bit right now, even just as I say it again. But it's been an incredible experience for what that's done for our entire family, let alone the boys, and for myself included as a dad. I got to speak at that awards banquet in lieu of John. Couldn't make it that time. So being able to get up in front of the USD football program, the coaches, and tell them how important that program is and how important the roles those young men play, and to thank them for allowing, ATPF to participate. No, your players can't go get dressed yet. They got to stay down here and take pictures. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So to be able to share that with them was a great experience for me personally. And so I really appreciate that. And then I'll end my part here with this last photo. And it's just because it was kind of, this is where it started. Sorry, that top picture is where those 4 original guys started. And then the bottom picture is at the last gala. And just to, have them together, seeing their growth and who they are, all 4 of them as young men. If I could Photoshop in Bandy and Ross, I would do that, just to show the importance of that group of young men there. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Tom.
I almost made it. Gosh darn it. That last photo just kicked me right in the butt.
I love it so much. I'm gonna stop your sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Oh, Tom, thank you so much for sharing this. I mean, you're just the perfect. I just love. I've heard you tell this story in so many different ways of the impact that this program has had on your boys, and this was the most. It's the most detailed and that you've ever gone through it, that I've heard it from you. And I love that you wear your heart on your sleeve and that you're so open to share about this experience. And I think it's so needed for a lot of our families, because they're so scared to engage in that way. They're like, we don't know what's going to happen, when they first sign up for an event. And it's really that piece of advice, just taking that extra step is it's coming from you. It's a lot more powerful than it is coming from me or from John. And I mean, John can definitely have, a lot to say about that too, and has so many stories, but I love hearing you say it. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I remember one of my first memories is the first time that I met you, which I actually remember, is at the football game. And it was my very first USD football game. And you walked up to the table, and it was clear that you knew what was going on. Like, you're like, yeah, I've been here like 100 times already. And you walked up, and we had one of the posters of our USD players. I think there was
Dallas and Ryan. Yeah.
Yes. So they did, Dana, I don't know if you want to elaborate on this, but there is some sort of, there were actual posters, I think, made by USD, and they actually did professional photos of our kids and their players. And it was like this whole campaign. Maybe John, if you want to speak about that too, but it has Tom's son on it. And he was like, yeah, do you know who we are? He's like, that's my kid. And I was like, really? That is so cool. And I was like, oh, then it just dawned on me. I'm like, Autism Tree has been around for so long. And these, since 2008, this program has started. And I'm like, there's so many families that keep coming back. And that's when it really hit me, was when you said that.
You know what's important about that is, and it just goes back to what somebody else said, is the photo used of Ryan and Dallas. And Ryan's not on the spectrum. And the importance of the sibling in this whole adventure. And we're finding that out. We've found that out more desperately in the last few years, the importance of that. And so it's just interesting that that's who, that's the photo that they used. It wasn't even of Nathan and Colt. It was actually Dallas and Ryan. And so that was pretty cool about that. And so, yeah, I remember that post. That was awesome.
The first time that we had a poster made that I remember for the program, and I don't remember what year, is because USD is an official change maker campus. They have billboards that say they want all their students to be like global change makers, and they help thousands of charities, local and domestic and international, and to get chosen by USD to be if you were, when the San Diego Chargers played in San Diego, USD took out a whole page in the Gold Club members book, and that page was what was a poster. And I used to carry that poster in the front passenger seat of my car because I just felt so proud. Todd actually is a graduate of USD, but I just, that program, those players, the families, and how, in the early years, I took thousands of photos of all the kids playing with the players, and I just would be so mesmerized at the connections that were made out on the field. And so it's really fun to share all this today, and to just be grateful that we, I love hearing that what is the football player's name that's coming to your son's 18th birthday and graduation? Colton. Yeah. I love that. And it's, these are lifelong relationships that are made in that program. And we don't micromanage the players. And it's like so fun to be sitting here with Tom with you guys today and hear that Colton is still right there celebrating.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's we've had his dog in the pool. I mean, it would be weird to not have Colton in our life right now. And I mean, that's where it started too. It was really Colton and Nathan. That's what started the whole thing. So the fact that relationship is still close, he's still local, it just speaks volumes to that whole, when you pour in, man, you're gonna get something back, and everybody wins.
Oh. John, I know you have your hand up. You can go next.
Hey everyone. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, running the program, we encourage all the families to just pour yourself into it, and the more you put into it, the more you get out. And Tom and Kelly are just living examples of that. Of if you treat these guys like family, you're going to have big brothers for the rest of your life. And my personal, before I was running the program, and I had, Lawson and Levi in it, and Levi's still in touch with his mentor, Troy McClellan, that graduated when did Tar graduate? 2013, I think. And so it's like seeing that relationship, and sitting there talking with him during the game, and he's like, yeah, can I get paired with that Dallas guy? Sure. Yeah, he's available. Hey, and after the game, it's like, hey, Dallas, come here, bud. Come to meet somebody. And seeing how that relationship took out, and Dallas is still really involved with ATPF. I'm in touch with them all the time. Just talked to him on Saturday, actually. And then Michael Bandy, I don't know if you're still in touch with him, Tom, but he's playing professional rugby in Colorado right now for a team, the Colorado Exos, that have taken former football players and putting them in a rugby academy and teaching them rugby.
Wow.
And once their season finished up, he signed on with the Spring Professional Football League, and he's playing wide receiver for the Conquerors, I think. I'm not sure where. I meant to Google it and see where they're at. Maybe Levi can help me with that to see where the Conquerors spring football team is. So he's playing wide receiver for the Conquerors Spring Pro Football League, and just posted a couple of touchdowns that he scored the other day. So
Nice.
You've got two professional football player, wide receiver, and double dipping as a and Bandy's captain of the rugby team too. So it's
right.
funny. I mean, I've been coaching rugby. Levi plays rugby, so we've been having that connection of following Bandy, and but just going back to the families involved. I remember when Tom and Kelly talked to me about the whole Disneyland thing. They go, I don't know, boys going to Disneyland without us. I'm not sure how that would work out. And I'm like, dude, trust me, it'll be fun. He's like, well, we might have to go and shadow them. Like, yeah, you could do that. Shadow them. Try to keep up with them, because I guarantee you, a couple of boys and a couple of college football players at Disneyland. Yeah, see you later. Have fun. And I'm so glad you guys followed that advice and went for it. And the day you and Ryan got to hang out afterwards and meet, the pictures you posted of you guys with Sherman and Garoppolo and George Kittle and Bosa and all those guys. I'm like, I remember you telling me, I don't know who was happier, me or Ryan. So.
Oh yeah, forget Ryan. I was having a blast. Ryan was like, no, don't say anything, Dad. I'm like, this will never, ever happen again in my life. I'm going to make this happen, dude. Richard, come here. And it was like, we're going to do this.
Yeah, no, you got to make it happen. And, again, thank you guys for diving into the program and, putting it into it, what you've been into it, and, being blessed by the benefit that came from all of that of having 3 sons, 4 sons,
Yeah.
extra in your family. And, it's like when Dallas graduated and I was going to pair or, getting somebody else, it was Colton who actually came to me and goes, hey, let's do Dwelly. He and I went to high school together, and, know he's a good cat. He'll be a great fit for this thing. And I was like, okay, cool. Done. One less thing I need to think about. And, so it's like, that's how Becca's been able to witness how a lot of that goes with the mentor program of, it's not science. It's just kind of going with our gut feeling and putting it out there and letting the players who know their teammates, oh yeah, this guy'd be good with him. This kid would be good. Yeah, let's put him with him. And then we literally just step back and let you guys have fun. So thanks for having fun.
I love it. We also have, I love hearing from, I'm glad this is like perfect timing, Tom, because we're also having we've had other USD football players come back, and I love John's mentioned a few of them. Like John knows everything about all of them and where they, after they graduated, what they're doing, which is really cool. We have Cody Darrow coming on next week, another one who recently graduated and now works for Mass Mutual. And then we have Kyle Negretti scheduled for July. So we have a lot of, and then we've had Addie in the past, which is, awesome. So like our USD players are just, they have such huge hearts, and they really love the kids, and they really get as much of it out of it as our families do. And I love hearing them speak too. And obviously this is just timely. This program is so special. So thank you so much for sharing, today. And I want to take a group picture before we go. This was so much fun to reminisce. I hope you all had a good time. I'll take a group picture, so I'll full screen. Hold on. Now's the time to turn on your camera if you'd like. If not, big smiles. Smile at the camera. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you again, Tom.
My pleasure. Thank you for everything. Appreciate it, everybody.
Have a
It was
happy.
nice. Thanks so much.
Great job, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Awesome, Tom. Well done.
Take care, guys. See you tomorrow,
All
Rebecca.
right. See you later. Take care. Have a good one.